So I wanted to do a quick video on the SJ4000 Wi-Fi. There are loads of other reviews, so I wasn't going to cover that. What I wanted to cover was just some useful accessories and things that really useful tips that I think everyone would benefit from. So the first is, obviously it comes with a huge amount of accessories. So you get the waterproof case with it, you also get lens wipe, you get the frame case which has a tripod screw on both ends, you have the clip for the frame case, you have the standard, exactly like the GoPro, you get the standard straight buckle and the J buckle for extra clearance. You get 3 extensions, 2 of the 90-degree ones like the GoPro will come with, and this really useful straight extension which for the GoPro you have to buy the helmet front mount set to get. And this is really useful for giving you a little bit of extension to get an extra tilt on the camera. So that's a really useful thing to have, and they're great. You get a little reverse adapter so you can pop a tripod thread onto a GoPro mount, which is a useful thing to have. You get the bike handlebar mount, which is again a really useful thing to have. You get a couple of the stick-on pads. You get a little tether and some sticky pads. You don't get the video out cables. It's worth getting these if you're going to use FPV or for a monitor. You can buy these on eBay for £1 or £2, and it's useful to have. I don't think it's a brilliant FPV camera, mainly because you have to select the TV mode every time you switch it on, which I think would be annoying. So it comes with all that good stuff. However, for a very small amount of money, I think you can really improve your enjoyment. The first thing I like is I like to have little pouches for the cameras. So these come from Poundland. They're just a little neoprene camera case, and they fit GoPros or these SJ4000s perfectly. A really useful thing. They come in all different colours. I've got tons of them. To protect the lens when it's in the case, a GoPro lens cap won't fit. It's slightly too big, so it will be too loose. But if you buy a 20mm silicone end cap like this, which you can get on eBay for a couple of pounds, you can then cut the end off it, and that then is a perfect end cap, lens cap for the camera. And then when you put it in the pouch, it's safe. I also always keep the lens cloth in the pouch with it because I think that's really useful. For the enclosure, for the waterproof enclosure, the GoPro 3 enclosure caps, they fit fine. They don't cover the button up, but they're a snug fit and they protect that lens from getting scratched. The other thing I do is I have just a little microfiber cloth, and I just wrap that enclosure in that cloth when it's in a bag, just so that it doesn't get scratched or damaged, because I think it could easily get, just scratches which would make it hard to see the screen. So that I think is sensible. You can see this nail polish is the other accessory I would buy. Again, it's from the Pound shop. Just get a bright colour, and there's a couple of things you can do with that. The first, I like to mark all my accessories with just dabs of nail varnish, just because whenever you go anywhere, everyone's always got a GoPro and everyone's always got all the accessories, and it's very easy to get them mixed up. So I just like to have just red dabs on, just so I know which ones are mine and I don't take anyone else's home by accident. On the waterproof case, it comes with 2 backs. This one has got vents in. They're slots at the side so that when you record, you can record audio, get good sound, which a lot of the time is really useful. You want to protect the camera from being hit or knocked, but you're not going underwater, so you want to record sound as well. Now the problem is, this is the waterproof case back, which doesn't have the slots, and if you look at them, they actually look really similar. And it's very common for people to accidentally take the camera underwater with the vented back and then destroy their camera with water. So to avoid this, all I do is just paint round the edge with bright coloured nail polish on the vented case, obviously leaving the middle clear because you want to be able to see the screen when you're using the camera. So that I think is a really sensible thing to do. I have to say I mostly use the vented back because you get much better sound, because obviously the microphone is inside the case. So if you use the waterproof back, you get muffled or no sound whatsoever. Similarly, the case, the back that you're not using, I always keep it just in a bag, or I just use these poly bags just so that it doesn't get scratched or chipped, because that would be annoying. If you use it underwater a lot and you actually find the seal wears or perishes, you can just swap the seals over because they're the same with the GoPro. So you can use the vented back seal just as a waterproof seal, just to if this one gets grit or sand in it and plays up. So that's useful. The other thing I have is bubble level. So I keep this in the case with the camera. These again cost pence, and it's just really useful just to set up the camera. If you're using one of the tilting bases, which you will be, either in the frame or in the enclosure, it's really awkward to know if the camera's flat, especially if it's on the ground. So I use one of the little bubbles, and you can just stick it on the camera when you're positioning it on the grass, get it level, so that's really useful. Similarly, this little tripod, these are called, well, the original is called a Joby GorillaPod, and they're quite expensive. These are called octopus tripods, and they're all over eBay for £2, and they're absolutely brilliant. You can either just use them as a tripod, because they're bendy, you can adjust their height, and you can also wrap them around things like a fence post, or you can pop them, you know, on an unlevel surface, like clip them around the bonnet of a car, not to drive but just to hold the camera steady. Also, you need the GoPro tripod mounts. Again, those are 99p on eBay. All that means is that it's just got a threaded tripod screw underneath. You can just screw that into any tripod, including this one. These tripod mounts are really useful. I would suggest you just buy 2 or 3 of these, because they're really, for 99p each, they're well worth having. Then you can leave one on this tripod. You can also use them on monopod, or as an extension pole, or if you have a tripod, just use that either for a low camera or anything else you like. So that's a really useful thing to have. A separate charger. I hate charging batteries inside the camera, for a couple of reasons. One is because it means you're tying up the camera, and secondly, battery problems tend to happen when they're charging, and you really don't want the camera damaged if a battery starts to swell up and cracks it. The other thing is that obviously charging with the camera, you're putting electrical load through the camera circuit, which eventually potentially could cause a problem, so I'm just not comfortable with it. So with the GoPros, I just have the cheap separate chargers, and I found the same for this. So you can just pop the battery out of the bottom of the camera like that, comes out with a little tab, and then that just pops into this charger. I just have a little USB 1 amp USB plug, and then you can just plug that in and charge it. You can buy these batteries quite cheap as well. It's well worth having a second battery. Again, I just keep it in the pouch with the camera, so that if you do run the battery low, you can just swap it over, and it's no big deal. You don't lose filming. So that, for the sake of literally a few pounds, I think is well worth doing. The other thing I just wanted to quickly cover, the Wi-Fi version. The SJ4000 was a great camera. The only issue I have with it is the white balance settings are weird, but that's not a huge problem. You just have to use either the cloudy or tungsten white balance settings and just experiment to see what you prefer the colours of. I did a video comparing all of the different white balance settings on the SJ4000 on the original one. They seem to be the same on this one. But what I wanted to quickly show you was the Wi-Fi. So you turn on the camera, you push the up button, and that will give you the Wi-Fi display. Then just on your phone or tablet, you'll get the SJ4000 Wi-Fi will pop up. The first time you use it, you can enter the password, which is on the back of the screen. So that's now connected, and then you go to the app, and then you just select your camera, and it connects, and then you've got your preview. And I think this is as good as the GoPro app. It gives you the battery indicator. Your preview has a small amount of lag, but it's no worse than the GoPro is. What's nice is the settings. You can change all your settings on the camera. Not all of the settings, but a lot of them. So you can change your white balance. Again, I've got cloudy on there. Normally, I think tungsten. Where's tungsten? Tungsten, I think. There we go. Inside, to be honest, the colours look shocking, but tungsten generally works best outside. So yeah, so you can see those settings are easy to change. I've just realised you don't actually get all of the settings on there. So for example, rotate, which you use if the camera's upside down, is not on this menu. So for those you have to use the menu on the camera, but it's not a huge deal. And then obviously you can start and stop the camera. So that's now recording. You can also change your mode, so you can go into the pictures or time lapse, or you can look at what you've already taken. Again, I wouldn't use it for that very much. I think the most useful thing is for setting up the camera, seeing the angle, and most of all, to be honest, is the settings, because being able to change those settings quickly and easily, it's not a huge deal, but it is nice. Again, on the GoPro, I think it's more of an issue because the GoPro button menu and screen are really awkward, I find. Whereas this one, because you have the turn that off, you have the option just to toggle through into the menu, and then you can just go through these menus, and they're, I mean, to be honest, they're fine. There's no real issue with them, but I do think having the Wi-Fi, for the sake of the very small difference in price, just makes this a slightly more complete camera. For setting up the camera on the ground so you can preview the angle, that's really nice, and for quickly changing the settings, again, that's really nice. So yeah, overall I think for the money, again, I think it's amazing. £58 this cost me, and you would pay more than that just for the accessories for a real GoPro. So it's just I think it's great value. Anyway, I hope that's useful.